I know. Anyway, look, alongside me on this Friday evening, my panel, Conservative Life Peer Lord Moylan and journalist Jo Phillips. Nice to see both of you. Very nice to see you.
Lovely to see you, Michelle.
I feel like I've not seen you in a very long time.
No.
I know. It's nice to see all of you guys at home as well. Of course, I only saw you yesterday, didn't I? And you know the drill on Jubes and Kerr. It's not just about us three. It is about you guys at home as well. So you can join all the conversations in all the usual ways. You can email me, gbviews@gbnews.com. You can go to the website, gbnews.com/yoursay. Of course, you can tweet and you can X me. And as I just alluded to at the start of the programme, what an absolute treat for each and every single one of you, because you don't just get 1 hour of me. Oh no, ladies and gents, you can have me for an extra bonus special hour as well. Why? Because Donald Trump is arriving imminently in Scotland. I'll save all of that stuff in detail for that next hour, but just a brief thought from you. Coming to Scotland, is this a good thing or not?
That's tremendous. We should welcome the President of the United States. He's a very important figure, a great friend of this country. And it's wonderful that he keeps investing in this country, because we do need some investment, and he creates jobs, and he's a great man.
Wait till I show you, everyone, the front page of one of the newspapers in Scotland. It's high-end pillory, if you ask me. That's probably not a word, but it should be. It should be. It's a great word. Anyway, Jo, what's your thoughts?
Well, he's there on a private visit, although he will see John Swinney, Scotland's First Minister, and he will meet with Keir Starmer. This is not to be confused with his state visit, which, of course, is in September. He's got interests in Scotland. I frankly couldn't care less.
She couldn't care less. I can tell you what, there are so many protesters that absolutely could care less, that reckon that they're going to, quote, stop Trump. No, you're not. You're just going to make an absolute irritant of yourself. But anyway, each to their own. But look, let's get into one of our top stories tonight, because more than 200 MPs right across the political spectrum, I've got to say, have written an open letter to Keir Starmer. They want our government to recognise Palestine as a state. We, of course, all saw, didn't we? We had a statement from Number 10 last night, basically saying that what's going on in Gaza is unspeakable and indefensible. Where are you on this, Lord Moylan?
Well, I'm increasingly crosser and crosser with the Netanyahu government about what they're doing, and I think what is happening in Gaza is clearly increasingly indefensible. They're trying to turn the whole thing into a prison camp, and there is malnutrition and starvation. And I think what people want is to find some practical means of relieving that. What we're getting is a load of MPs doing virtue signalling by demanding that we recognise a state. I mean, what is a state? What state are we recognising? And there are two governing parties in this Palestine. There's one, the Palestinian Authority, and there's Hamas. So, I mean, you know, which government are we going to liaise with once we've recognised the state? Will Wes Streeting be travelling out to meet his opposite number in the Hamas Health Ministry once we've recognised them as a state? It's a preposterous idea.
Jo?
Well, I think to a certain extent I agree with Daniel that I think it would be purely symbolic, but I do think there's an awful lot of people, including all these MPs, who are getting increasingly frustrated at, you know, the crescendo of criticism coming from Keir Starmer and David Lammy and other ministers, but nothing is happening. And meanwhile, every single day we're seeing the worst pictures of a completely man-made famine, and the torture and horror that those people in Palestine and Gaza are going through is absolutely appalling. So I think there is a desperation, and of course it comes on the back of President Macron saying that he would recognise Palestine as a state. I mean, in 2014, there was a vote in the Commons which was in favour of recognising Palestine, but it was part of, or as part of the negotiations to a two-state solution. Well, a two-state solution is never going to happen under Netanyahu, because he just wants to hang on to power regardless and basically clear Gaza of any person that's there. I mean, one would hope that during his visit to Scotland, Keir Starmer will have a word with Trump and say people are getting fed up, Michelle, because strong words don't feed babies.
Hello, I'm Bev Turner. Now, it can feel like the money in our bank accounts at the moment does not keep up with the cost of living, and maybe there's a solution. I'm here today with the CEO of TallyMoney, Cameron Parry. Cameron, what is TallyMoney?
Well, Bev, with TallyMoney, you get a current account and a debit card, but instead of pounds, you use milligrams of gold as your everyday money.
So why gold?
Gold traditionally is a great store of value. It has, on average, gone up at over 11% per annum for the last 25 years against the pound. It's tripled in value in the last decade. And in the last 2 years alone, it's increased by 50% against the pound. Banks' savings products just can't compete with that level of growth.
But this isn't just about gold. This is about a currency that you guys have created at TallyMoney. Explain it to me as though I'm an idiot.
So, look, people need to be able to hold their earnings and build their savings in a money that retains its value and remains in their legal control and remains theirs to access, away from government control.
Great. You had me at not exposed to government control.
You should feel safe and happy with your money. You should have peace of mind the more money you see in your bank balance, and that's the type of thing we're trying to deliver and give people choice in the type of money they get to use every day.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Cameron. Thank you.
Well, you see, one of the challenges is, and I am, like so many people, I struggle immensely. Anyone that watches this programme will know that I struggle immensely when I feel that children are being harmed. I don't care who those children are, what religion they are, what country they're in, what their skin colour. I don't care. I just have a red line for me. Children being harmed crosses that line. And I've expressed concern a lot about the children of Gaza and what's happening to them. And each and every single time I do that, I immediately get bombarded with so much hatred. And the messages that I get pushed back on, like, for example, there was the front page of, I think it was the Express newspaper, was it yesterday? Mm. And they had that starved child. So many people were saying, Michelle, this is propaganda. And they were saying, like, look at the lady that's holding the child. The lady is, not plump and she's not fat or anything, but she's certainly not starving. She's not hungry. Well, so then people are asking questions. If this is true, and don't forget the IDF have just recently showed some footage of there's all kinds of aid that they say is waiting to get into Gaza, but it's been held up by the UN. The IDF are saying we're not starving children, it's not happening. Other people are saying that this is so much propaganda. So actually now it's getting to the point, certainly for me, knowing what to believe as truth anymore is actually becoming quite challenging.
Yeah, meanwhile children are dying. Meanwhile people queuing for water, queuing for food are being shot at by IDF. And meanwhile there is no reason that Israel had to take over the distribution of aid. There are 6,000 trucks waiting to go in. The UN was quite happy to do that and carry on. They know how to get it. The more aid you get in, the less chance there is of looting and criminality. But we have seen over the last 18 months or however long it has gone on, and this is in no way condoning what Hamas did. It was atrocious, it was appalling. But Israel's punishment of the Gazan people is absolutely nothing other than genocide. It is disgusting.
But many people would push back, even that word genocide. Many people would listen to that at home and have a very strong, visceral reaction to that. They would absolutely categorically deny that that's what it is. They would say, and I know this because I speak to you every day, you get in touch, you tell me your thoughts, and I'm trying to reflect accurately what I know that a great number of you feel. They would say it's not genocide. If it was genocide, actually, this would all be kind of done and dusted ages ago because of Israel's military might. They would ask, why, if you want to commit genocide on a population, would you give them advance warning of the strikes if what you're actually trying to do is secretly wipe them all away? That's what people would push back and say.
Yeah, well, I think some of the people sitting at home who have got the time and the attitude that go, oh, look at that woman, she's probably not really starving. Maybe you should listen to some of the doctors, some of the aid workers, some of the people who are out there. Don't forget, there are no journalists from the BBC or other outlets who are allowed into Gaza.
And Daniel, Jo, to me, the point that Jo's just made there is a key point, because one of the things that's getting very, very tricky now, and it is getting very tricky, this is such an emotive issue, it's really an emotive issue, people are really entrenched, understandably, in their positions and sides and all the rest of it. And emotions are very high, and understanding and knowing what is true now is becoming increasingly difficult. And the point that Jo just raises is a key one, because if the IDF said, do you know what, we will let independent journalists into Gaza to report accurately and independently themselves, this would clear up a lot of all of these misunderstandings. Why won't they do that?
I don't know. Can't possibly explain what the Israeli government is doing. I don't speak for them.
Do you think
But I agree with
that?
you. I think they absolutely should do that. And they would be able to show these journalists the scenes of happy refugees bombed out of their homes, having nice meals, sitting round in well-ordered and well-managed camps, I presume. That's what they'd be able to show them, rather than the chaos that we see, some of which I'm sure is fictitious. I mean, of course, Hamas is not to be trusted when it puts out information. Everything has to be verified, but it's very difficult to verify it if you don't allow some independent people in. Some things you can verify without being there, but you've still got a lot of black holes, so to speak, and it does feed a certain part of the population which doesn't believe anything they see on the television, which believes there's always another explanation that's being hidden from them, and that, whether it's of Gaza or anything else. So it does feed that. And the Israelis could actually help deal with that by taking journalists from Western countries round.
Let me ask you, Jo, have you seen any of the body cam footage from the Hamas terrorists from October the 7th?
No.
See, I have. I've had the misfortune of seeing that. It's one of the most... I am quite a tough girl. I'm not a weakling. I don't get easily distressed and shocked. I mean, even just now, because I'm thinking about it...
I've only seen what's been shown on the television.
Yeah, I've gone goose pimply. And when I saw that footage, these people were barbarians. They were sick, twisted. They almost seemed to me to be on some level, it was almost like a sexual arousal, the thought of getting to these Jews and hurting them and kicking them. And even after they'd killed these people, spitting on them, kicking on them, regarding them as dogs. And my question is, if the reward for that monstrous terrorist activity is that therefore you get your state recognised, what message does that send out?
Well, I don't think it is a reward, and of course that is absolutely abhorrent. And you could find the same sort of footage in the Congo, you could find it in Sudan, you could find it across the world at war. And you're absolutely right, Michelle. Quite often it is a sexual arousal. It is appalling, and no one in their right minds can possibly give any excuse. But when I have seen the body cam footage of the Israeli Defence Forces opening fire on paramedics and their ambulances that they then denied, and then pushing them all into a crater and trying to cover it up. And that was captured on film by one of the paramedic colleagues and completely destroyed what the IDF had said. But it comes back again to what Daniel and I both agree on. If you will not allow independent journalism in,
to verify,
then you're not going to ever win the argument, because people like me, I'm afraid, will not support what Israel is doing.
I cover a lot of, divisive topics on this programme, contentious issues, you name it. And I can tell you, in all the years that I've been doing this programme, I've never known an issue to be as... to generate the kind of strength of reaction as this situation between Israel and Palestine does. No matter what you say, you are treading a tightrope, because people are understandably, by the way, I'm not criticising anyone, you're understandably furious, angry, devastated. I'm looking at my inbox now. You are so divided. Lynette says, Michelle, of course it is a genocide. How could anybody at all deny it? But Anne says, Michelle, Israel would not... Sorry, Andrew says, this is nonsense and Hamas propaganda being peddled by Jo. It's ignorant, it's anti-Israeli, it's anti-Semitic. Heather says children are not and have never been killed by the IDF. Get your facts right. IDF are killing Hamas. They are terrorists. Hamas... This is what Heather's saying. It's Hamas. They are the terrorists. It's them that don't care about the Palestinians, but it's Israel that are getting the blame.
Can I just make one point?
A small, short one,
yes,
yeah.
But one of your viewers has said it's anti-Semitic. It is not anti-Semitic, and this is part of the problem. You can be anti-Israel, you can be anti-Netanyahu's government, but that does not make you anti-Semitic, and I think it's really, really important to make that point.
Look, whichever side of the fence we are on, and all I'm trying to do is to accurately represent context and comments that I get from each of you when I cover this topic. whatever side anyone is on, it's just devastating. There are absolutely innocent people being killed. There are innocent people still being held as hostage. All of these months, year plus now on, it is just absolutely horrific. If anyone has got the answers to what it is, please do get in touch and tell me.